G'day folks, Wren here, and today we are going to do my December TBRGate. So before we get into December's spins, I'll just quickly go through November. November has been a really stressful month for me because I was finishing up my very last semester of my bachelor's degree of archaeology, so stressful times. Not much reading got done, but some did. So we'll go through the TBRGate for November. So for the friendship prompt, I was meant to read Soul Eater volume 15, and I did do that, and I gave it 5 stars. It was a great time. Then for Paranormal or Horror, I chose Season of the Brewheart volume 1. I haven't read it yet, but I have a few more days, so maybe I will. Then for middle grade or YA fantasy, I had a hive ship, so I had to read 2 books to fulfill this prompt, and I did. Pretty stoked about that. So the first book I read for that was Heir of Fire, and I did read this, gave it 4 stars, had a great time. Then the other one I read was Godlings and the Gates of Chaos. I am currently reading this, and I will finish it by the end of the month, so I am considering this completed. Then for Set in Own Country, I was meant to read Hunter, which I did and loved it, gave it 4 stars. For cultural diversity, I was meant to read I Am Okay to Feel, and I did read this and gave it 4 stars. For ebook, I was meant to read All or Nothing, and I did not get around to this. For TBR Vet, I was meant to read Return of the King, and I am, as of right now, halfway through this, but I will finish this by the end of the month. And lastly, for emotional, I was meant to read Station 11, and as of right now, I have not read this. So out of all of those, technically I should be getting 2 more hive ships. But because it is the holiday season, I decided to be kind to myself, and we're changing up the rules for December. So in December, I'm not putting on any new hive ships. I'm keeping all the hive ships that were previously on the board, but not putting any extras on. And then the other new thing we're going to do for December, just for December, I just decided to switch things up. So instead of doing my normal prompts for TBRGate, I decided that I'm just going to have a whole new prompts, and we're going to have cards because I just wanted some cards. So every glyph has an episode tied to it, and I usually use the episode to choose my prompts. But this time I'm just using the season to choose a type of prompt in a way. So for any of the glyphs that were correlated with season 1, I have a set of cards, and they represent a bunch of series that I'm partway through that I wanted to make some progress in during 2022. Then for any season 2 glyphs, the category that I chose for this was meant to read this year. So there have been a few books this year that have been on my TBR, or just ones that I've been really desperate to read that for some reason or other I didn't get to. But there are a few that are just, I'm still really desperate to read them and I haven't yet. Then for any of the glyphs tied to season 3, the category for this was Kindle. And I narrowed this down even more with just any Kindle books that I have bought during 2022, because there's been a lot, and I, like many other people, always neglect my books that are on my Kindle, so I need an excuse to read them. Then for any season 4 glyphs, the category is hauled this year. I make a list of every book that I have hauled every year, and I think so far I'm like well over 200 books that I have purchased this year, which is pretty average for me, honestly. I like buying books. So plenty of books there to choose from, and I was just choosing ones I was most interested in. Then for any glyphs that were a part of the season 5 of Stargate Atlantis, I decided to have some fun. So with these I chose Booktubers. Now by this I mean I made a list of some of my favourite booktubers, and then I got 3 books from them. And the way I did this was I wrote down any books that are on any of their favourites lists, or any books that they've given 5 stars. This was just so much fun. I really like these cards, and I I just, I want a whole game of just those season 5 cards. We're still doing 7 glyphs, but new prompts. And if there is a hive ship that I land on, then I will just, same as any other hive ship, I read 2 books to complete the prompt. If it's a card that has a specific book on it, I will just pick another card from that same category and read those 2 books. If I land on a chevron, I'll still pick up a character card. Those haven't changed for December. For December, I am kind of participating in 2 readathons. The first readathon is the Queer Lit readathon. This is round 10. This is my favourite readathon. I actually made a separate TBR for this. If you want to watch that TBR, the video will be linked down below. I also recommended a whole bunch of books for the prompts for this round of the Queer Lit readathon. Then the next readathon that I'm like kind of taking part in is the Lightfall Path or something, the Aurelium season shopping readathon thing. It's just a bit of fun, so I'm not really dedicating too much time to this, and I'm not making a TBR. We're just gonna go with the flow with that one. December's TBRGate, last one of the year, special prompts. Let's go. So last month I landed on El Nami, so we're going to start from there. Ready for spin number 1. 8. Oh, we got Earth. The episode from Earth is a season 4. So we're going to pick up the cards for season 4. Right. Quick shuffle. Alright, let's go. Project Hail Mary. Oh, I'm excited about that. So the first glyph that we landed on was a season 4 prompt, and that means that I had to choose a book that I have hauled this year. So one that I'm really interested in, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is a sci-fi about, I'm assuming, someone getting stuck in space, because that's what The Martian was about. So a lone astronaut, an impossible mission, an ally he never imagined. Sounds fun. I'm definitely in the mood for sci-fi lately, and my friend Max, this is like one of his favourite books that, at least that he read this year. He's obsessed with it, and he thinks I would also really enjoy it. So I bought it, and we're gonna read it because that was the book that came up. Right, spin number 2. I think that's more on the 2. Of course it is. Sandovi. That is a season 1 prompt. And I guess because it's a hive ship, I'm going to pull out 2 cards. So that'll be interesting. Okay, so we'll do 1 now. Murderbot Diaries. Okay. That's awesome. Wow, getting a lot of sci-fi so far. Okay. And then we'll shuffle again. Okay. My Hero Academia. Awesome. I will gladly read that. So the next glyph we landed on was a season 1 prompt. And it was also a hive ship. So the first card that I pulled was for the Murderbot Diaries series. Now I am 4 books into this, and I just now am up to the full-size novel called Network Effect. I don't own this, but I am planning on owning it, so I'm hopeful that I'll be able to read it this month, but Australian post is notoriously slow. If I can read it, I will, but there may or may not have to be another hive ship in January. But the Murderbot Diaries is such a fun series. is about a robot-ish person that is... oof, wow, how to describe what is happening in this series? Basically, if you just want like a really sassy kind of robot person that is just having space adventures while trying to uncover like some kind of political-esque mystery, then read the series. It's probably not a really good endorsement, but it's a great time. I think I've given all of the books 5 stars. So because this was a hive ship, that means I had to pull a second card. So the second card that I pulled was My Hero Academia, which is such a good manga series, and I'm really glad that this came up, especially for the hive ship, because it's a quick, easy manga to read. I'm currently up to volume 9. My Hero Academia is about a world full of like superheroes. To be a official hero, you have to go to school, do some training, get your license, and My Hero Academia just follows the new class in a very prestigious superhero school, and we're following the class go to class and have all their hero training and learn about their powers and how to be a hero, and it's such a fun time. Alright, spin number 3. 8. Ekrumig, and that is a season 3. It'd be really cool if I could get every season in here. Ooh. Okay. Law and Lust. Okay. The next glyph that we landed on was a season 3 prompt, and so that means choosing a book that I had purchased on Kindle this year. So the book I actually got was Law and Lust. When I pulled this prompt, I was a bit like, oh, okay. But then I was scrolling on Instagram and I read someone's review on Law and Lust, and now my interest is very much piqued. Law and Lust is a male-male vampire romance, and in this world the vampires drink the blood of other vampires, potentially, and this is how like a mating thing is also happening. It's also apparently just like kind of soft and sweet and slow burn-y. It sounds kind of like just what I'm in the mood for right now. Alright, spin 4. 4. Allura. That's another season 1. Gonna be getting through my series here. Okay. Ice Planet Barbarians. Okay. Then the next glyph that we landed on was a season 1 prompt. So again, that means a series that I wanted to make progress in this year. And the series that I got for this was Ice Planet Barbarians. This is just a fun series. It's about aliens and humans pairing up and having sexy times. It's not too serious, it's just fun. They're very short, and it's just something you don't have to think about too hard, and that's kind of exactly what I need right now. Right, spin 5. 16. Hamlito. That's another season 4. Alright. Wyla. The next glyph that we landed on was a season 4 prompt, and so that means a book that I have hauled this year. So the book I landed on for this was one of my very recent purchases, which is Wyla, the Kuri Warrior. So this I randomly saw in the shop a couple weeks ago, and I was like, hell yes, I want to read this. It is a middle grade about an indigenous girl. Awesome. And it's also set back during like roughly the time of Neanderthals, potentially, because they're talking about some megafauna stuff. It's old times and indigenous, which is something I'm so excited for. And it's a middle grade, so it'll be really quick. And there are also some drawings I don't want to know too much about this. I just want to read it and have such a fun time, but I'm really excited for this. Spin number 6. Okay, that's a 1. CTAS, which is season 5. Oh, I'm really excited for these. Okay. Wonder who it'll be. I'm like scared to stop shuffling. Okay. Who's it gonna be? Becca. How did I know it was gonna be Becca? So those are my options. A Court of Mist and Fury, Rebecca, or The Hating Game. Okay, I will pick one of those. The next glyph that we landed on was a season 5 prompt, which I'm really glad a season 5 one came up. So the booktuber that I got was Becca from Becca and the Books. Now, she reads a lot more fantasy than I do, so trying to pick some books of hers that I would be interested was a little difficult, and if I had done this TBR a month ago, I wouldn't have been as happy getting Becca as I am now. But I'm gonna read A Court of Mist and Fury, and the only reason I'm kind of excited about this now is because I just read Heir of Fire, which is also by Sarah J Maas, and I really loved Heir of Fire, so I'm kind of more on the Sarah J Maas bandwagon now. I'm still really dubious about this because I wasn't the biggest fan of A Court of Thorns and Roses, and this is like following the main character that I hated in that book, so I don't know, but everyone seems to love him and I don't understand it. Maybe I will after reading this, but I'm not looking forward to it. I don't know. Guys, I don't know. I'm gonna give it a go though and see what all the fuss is about. But I'm also worried that Sarah J Maas is gonna make me like a character that I loathed. And like, I'm gonna be upset. If I start liking this guy, there will be hell to pay. Okay, last spin. Spin number 7. 12. The Millovs. And that's a season 3. Alright. Season 3. Bear Creek Christmas. Good timing. And then the last glyph that we landed on for the December TBRGate was a season 3 prompt. So that means a book that I bought this year on my Kindle. So the book that I got for this was Bear Creek Christmas. Now I put this on the cards because it's Christmas time, so it seemed fitting. So Bear Creek Christmas is a male-male romance, and it is also featuring bear shifters. So that's interesting. I've never read a bear shifter book before, but I love shifters. It's one of my favorite things to read about, and I'm always here for some queer stuff. And it is definitely giving off like small town vibes, which I love, and it just seems cozy and sweet, maybe a little bit steamy, which is kind of all I want in life, at least with books. But anyways, that was my December TBR. It's slightly daunting, but slightly not. I mean, some of these books are very chunky. Project Hail Mary and A Court of Mist and Fury are chunky, but I've been able to get some slightly less chunky books in there, so that's good. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!